This is part 2 of Santa Can't, but Krampus can. To catch you up, children. Zac and Harlii are on vacation in Colorado with their babies. Harley's mom and Zac's friend Lalchan come and show up. Lalchan and Zac get trapped in the valley after doing a little night skiing. They run afoul of some mysterious creature, and nobody can get to them. Harley goes out looking for them. That's about as much as you need to know for now. Alright, back to the story. Izzy. When I got up, Harley was already staring out the window. I knew that pose well. I lived it many times. Zac didn't come home last night? Harley looked away. Well, that is the cost of having a pretty husband. Fatten him up, Filia. Maybe then you can slow him down enough to catch him. Why? She stopped abruptly, like she didn't want to say. Speak your mind. The truth shall set you free. It was a phrase I liked to use a lot, but very much didn't agree with. She didn't. That's my girl. We should backtrack and go the way they did. Lalchan said he needed supplies. Maybe he swung back to that shop. We bundled up the children and went to the shop that we went to the day before. A part of me wondered if this white boy was more trouble than he was worth. If it were me, I'd just step out on him and see how he liked it. She knows she's going to have to cut that boy. The little blonde girl was back at the counter when we got there. The girls broke away and all but disappeared into the colorful shop. I was just wondering if you saw my husband and his friend come to this shop last night, said Harley. The white girl said as if she was struggling to remember who she was. I whispered under my breath, white girl done fucked up now. I said, keeping it in check. Harley handed me the baby. You know who the fuck my husband is. I was here yesterday. He's good looking, dark hair, tattoos, and he had a friend with blonde hair. Oh, right. I can't go giving information, ma'am, she said. Enough with the ma'am shit. You're not in the CIA and you don't have confidentiality, said Harley. It was good to see that boy didn't file her teeth down. She gave me the look. Oh, I knew that look. I had that look on my face anytime it was time to beat that bitch ass. Come on, kids, I said to Whisper and Rumor, who emerged from the shop like goblins in a pumpkin patch. I closed the door and I heard it lock behind me. I talked to the kids about their favorite cartoons to mask the stray gaps and yelps that came from the shop. Whisper smiled, not falling for my little distraction. What's mommy doing? Said my little Nita. Don't you mind that. We call that handling business. Can I handle business too? Said Whisper. I smiled. I know you will. I heard a crash from the shop. Maybe I should step in so my baby girl didn't catch a case. It would be really messy if we had to dump a body, and I don't know if Leah had it in her. Harley bounced out of the shop rather quickly. I caught the hint we were fleeing the scene. Should we be packing up? I think we came to an understanding. She'd tell on Jesus before she told on me. That's my girl. She told me they were talking about doing the Griffin slopes up the mountain. We took a detour back to the hotel room. I saw Fleha pulling the heat from a suitcase. I closed the door and whispered, Girl, what type of shit you and pretty boy getting into? You know I'll ride with you. No, mommy. I need you to watch the children. You expecting trouble? Look, I don't know what to expect, said Harley. You know, if you catch him with another girl, don't leave no witness, Fleha, I said. I really hope that girl listened. Zac. Me and Lalchan were barely keeping it together. It was hard enough to work a case when everything was going right and you had someone at your back who was ready to face down monsters. Lalchan and me could go blow for blow in matters of fitness and doing ill shit. If I suggested we base jump, he'd suggest we do it while skywriting. He was fun in a way most people couldn't keep up with me, but when it came to the supernatural world, he wasn't quite a true believer, and that was the type of thing that could put him in danger when it came to making a split decision choice. I had to work with the information I knew right now and work backwards. Rumor mentioned Krampus, and that is a big hairy imp dude. Am I remembering this from a movie or a book? I can't remember. This thing is giving off some real Bigfoot vibes. Maybe a Yeti, by what Lalchan said. Why us, though? What makes us better targets than anyone else? That question I'd have to save for later. Lalchan stoked a fire, feeding it the wooden chairs of this abandoned place. It was both our hopes that the smoke from the chimney might give people an idea of where they should look if they were looking. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that Harlii would come looking for us at first light, because I'd go looking for her. Is this something you've dealt with before? Lalchan asked hopefully. I shook my head. Damn, that thing was tall as fuck, mate, and it just... What mimics our dead mates? Said Lalchan. Your guess is as good as mine, but what we really want to do in a situation like this is not trust any of the information we have 100%. Sometimes it's worse to get it wrong than to not know at all. We waited, and the night put its hooks in us. I couldn't really relax because the pain in my leg was waking me up every 15 minutes, and Lalchan's head drooped here and there. If this creature was coming for us, it at least respected us enough to do it when we least expected, which told me it was clever, if not intelligent. When I saw Locke's head droop down again, I figured I have to do something to keep us both alert. Maybe it could give me a few moments not to obsess over the pain. I know you don't take all this supernatural shit all that serious, but you've dabbled from time to time. In all that time, you've never had situations that shook you up? Nothing that had you question? Locke sparked up a joint. I didn't think it was such a good idea on account of how hungry he was, not because I thought he'd lose his shit. I've seen Locke take a pull, then jump a jet ski over a semi-truck. Look, okay, before tonight there was this one time. Lalchan exhaled slowly, smoke curling from his mouth, then held the joint to me. So, Lalchan said, on one of the excursions we went on, I was really hoping what I saw wasn't real. I exhaled and nodded. He shifted forward, forearms on his knees now. The joking itch was gone. So, we were in that hospital in Scotland, the haunted one. I was on level 5. The floor that connected to the body chute. The one where they didn't move bodies down the hall, or at least they weren't supposed to. I see this guy standing at the end of the corridor, all white, couldn't make out his face, dark hair, no features. But he's wearing a white coat, like a doctor, just standing there, watching me. Lalchan shook his head slightly, like the memory didn't sit right, but at least it took him away from our current fucked up situation. He doesn't say anything. I call out, hello, turn on the EMF reader, and it goes absolutely nuts, spikes immediately. I start walking towards him. He doesn't move. I'll try to reach them on the walkie. Nothing. Dead. And then... Lalchan snapped his fingers once. It happened. Fast, like a cheap jump scare in a movie. He drops straight down from the ceiling. He paused for effect. Hard, like he hit bottom. There's this jolt, like the rope went tight, and his body bounces up for half a second. Lalchan exhaled weed through his nose as casually as if it were his own breath. It was a body, hanging, just as fast as if it was there. It was gone. He leaned back, rubbing his face. Man, he muttered, I damn near pissed myself. I myself didn't tell any stories because I didn't want Lalchan to do something stupid, like take my story and attempt to go outside and challenge the thing just to one-up me. After a few hours, the conversations got shorter, and then responses got less and less until I closed my eyes for a moment. Lalchan. Me and Zac had been in the cabin for what felt like days, and my stomach was rumbling so hard I didn't even feel the avalanche that buried us on that first night. I had never been so hungry in all my life. We had seen neither height nor hair of the beast that corralled us here since the first day. You knew, the cartoons where you'd see your friend as a steak dinner when you were starving? Well, that was starting to become less and less of a joke as the days went by. Zac was already getting sick. Maybe he got an infection when we were trying to treat his wound. It's not as if we really knew what we were doing. You know, you can eat me when I die, said Zac. Mate, I wasn't thinking that. I sure as shit was. I don't think it makes any sense for us both to die. Realistically, how long can it take before someone figures it out and we get saved? He said. Exactly, which is why I couldn't live with myself if I ate your ass and had to explain it to Harlii and the kids. Whoa, nobody said anything about ass eating. That's where you went with it. Me and Zac laughed to stop from crying. Look, dude, I was rationing a little, but if we're seriously having a conversation on how fresh our corpse would be, now is the time to break it out. Zac went into a pocket in his snowsuit and produced a bag of jerky. Come on, man, eat up, or neither of us are getting out of here. Zac. I woke up to excruciating pain. My leg felt as if it was being torn apart. When I looked down, Lalchan was biting into my outer thigh. My skin went elastic and stretched like a zombie movie. I kicked off of Lalchan. My good foot pushed him to the ground. There was nothing in his eyes. He looked forward with absolutely no emotion. He was unfocused yet staring through me like he was asleep. Locke, wake the fuck up, man! I yelled at him as I scrambled to the fireplace and grabbed the poker. Lalchan moved rather fast, but clearly not as fast as he was capable of going. His face dripped red with my blood. He lunged at me, teeth first, as if he had forgotten he was a man. I held the red-hot poker in front of me like it were a lance. Lalchan didn't slow. He didn't seem to even consider he was in danger. He walked into the poker more than I pushed it into him. I hoped that searing heat would be enough to snap him out of it. Lalchan showed no signs that he knew what he was doing or that he registered pain at all. He lurched to bite me. I howled as he took another chunk of my flesh. He pushed in harder, impaling his shoulder, branding himself. With how clumsy and awkward he was moving, even without full mobility, I could slam this poker into his brain, and he more than likely wouldn't care enough or be able to stop it. I rolled over. Every time I did was pure agony. I kicked Locke into the fireplace. Lalchan scuttled in the flames, unfazed by the pain. I crawled away on my hands and knees as Locke confidently stood up in the fire. The flames rolled off of Lalchan's clothes, leaping onto the hardwood, the furniture, and anything else that would feed it. I searched around, not for a way to save my life, but for a way to save his. If I didn't think of a way to subdue him, I'd have to kill him. Lalchan tracked flames in the house, and it rose. I pulled myself up on the kitchen island. I had to give myself time to think. When Lalchan came at me, I kept the marble counter between us. If he moved any faster, this would have been impossible on one leg. I even had to place the warm fire poker on the table, seeing I needed both hands. I played Ring Around the Rosie with Lalchan for at least a minute, and hopping on one leg was not as easy as it seemed. Lalchan, wake the fuck up! It's Zac! I yelled. Locke, for lack of better words, was not home, and there was no leaving a message either. The smoke rose and the fire spread, which meant this little game of cat and mouse was going to end one way or another. I looked behind him. On the counter, I happened to notice a wooden block holder of knives jutting out handles first. If the flames got any closer, I was going to have to seriously consider if it was going to be me or him. The idea that I had to make this choice at all was 10 times more scary than any monster I had ever faced. I looked to my right. Through the haze and smoke, I saw 2 icy blue eyes. They blazed so bright, I nearly questioned if they were stars. I risked it. I didn't know if what I thought to do would or could have any effect. But with the lodge on fire and the strength in my leg wavering, what did I have to lose? The 2 mysterious and haunting dots of light followed Lalchan's every move. With both hands and the stress put on my one leg, I flung the fireplace poker. The metal rod smacked the window and ricocheted off what I only could assume was a head. The eyes went away. Lalchan finally managed to catch me when I couldn't use my hands to steady myself. "Wake the fuck up!" I yelled, having no other option after this than grabbing a knife and stabbing him with the same vigor of a Mortal Kombat fatality. I smacked Locke with everything I had as his head moved into me. Before I felt my chest being violently ripped apart, I felt Lalchan's teeth relax. "Zac, what the hell am I doing?" he said with understandable confusion as to why his teeth were wrapped around my nipple. "You were trying to eat me, Locke. Is that what the kids are calling it these days?" "Zac?" "Yeah? Quick question. Why is the lodge on fire?" "Doesn't matter right now." "I suppose it doesn't," Lalchan agreed, threw my arm over his shoulder, and I swiped the kitchen knife block. We hobbled outside. The fire gained momentum and began melting the snow away. We decided that our best option was to make it to the ski lift and wait for them to turn it back on. It was essentially the same plan as before, except we had at least an hour before dawn. With how slow I was moving through the knee-deep snow, the trip that might have taken 20 minutes may well take an hour. We trudged on without many words spoken between us. I could see that Lalchan had took a bad burn. But he was a stuntman. His leg could be as broken as mine was, and he tried to walk it off. Locke had to take a quick piss, so he propped me up against a tree. The cold had seeped into my bones now, and compounded with my injury, my entire body chattered like a junk car on the verge of breakdown. I didn't take this lightly when I thought that I might die. A shred of hope returned to me when I saw in the distance the ski lift turning back on. It was about 5 a.m., and it was no telling when or even if the sun would make an appearance anytime soon. I heard footsteps approaching. At first, I thought it was Locke, but I saw his back was turned about 20 paces from me. Harlii wandered through the snow-covered trees. "Hey, it's not safe. Are you okay?" I said while hopping very ineffectively towards her. She opened her arms for a hug. As I was about to embrace her, a knife flew from over my head. A knife sank into Harley's chest. I turned. Lalchan stood there unapologetically with the block of knives in his hand. "What the fuck are you?" was all he got to say before I ran at him using my broken leg to do it. The pain of losing her was 10 times more gut-wrenching than the eruption of agony I felt in my leg. "You son of a bitch," I said, hobbling at Lalchan. Locke didn't waste time waiting for me to come at him. He charged at me. He dropped the knives. As I angrily but clumsily lunged at him, he rolled low and tackled my good leg. Rage or not, I couldn't hope to stand up to such an onslaught. We both went tumbling down into the snow. My rage made me strong, but Lalchan would have been hard to beat had I been at peak condition. He snaked his arm around my head and twisted me around so that I was facing Harlii, or so I thought. "Calm down, mate. I don't know exactly what it was you were moving towards, but it wasn't Harlii." True to Locke's words, she wasn't there. No body, no nothing. He relaxed his grip as I stopped struggling. He picked up the kitchen knives and hoisted me up, putting my arm over his shoulder. We hobbled over to where Harlii would have been. All we saw was blood, an indication where something big might have been. I pat Locke on the shoulder and said, "Sorry, man. If you can forgive me for biting you." We gave each other a knowing head nod. Harlii. Coming down the lift of this mountain, I realized that I was going to have to shoot someone, because if Zac dragged my ass all the way down here for nothing, I knew I was going to shoot him. I could see smoke from the lift, so I had to assume that was the direction to move in. I knew he was going to find a way to get me in the snow. From the first step, my foot sank to damn near my waist. I started towards the fire as fast as my legs could take me. I heard the sounds of footsteps approaching, but it felt as if it weren't getting closer or farther away. Doing the things I do, I couldn't just laugh that off as nothing. If the sound was coming from my side and we were keeping pace, I may have thought it wasn't suspicious. If this was to be true, someone would have slowed down exactly when they heard me and then inadvertently kept pace. After several minutes of this, suddenly the sound changed, and instead of someone keeping pace out of reach, it stopped and walked towards me. I stopped when the steps stopped. I pulled my gun. Common sense would dictate that this was either an animal or someone lost, but seeing what I've seen, there was nothing common about the sense I make. "Hello?" I said with my gun firmly held in two hands. There was nothing. "I have a gun. I speak English, Spanish, and Portuguese, so I suggest you speak to me because my Beretta is a universal translator." I pressed forward. I heard a twig snap. I fired and fired and fired until the chamber clicked and I saw blood. "Lalchan. Did you hear that, Zac?" I said to Zac. "I think I did. That thing only makes sounds when it wants us to hear it," Zac theorized. "Let's let it come to us then," was my suggestion. Zac took the big knife from the holder. I grabbed a little steak knife and crouched behind a bush. "Hello?" said a voice that sounded a lot like Harlii. I looked to Zac, and he to me, to confirm he was hearing what I was. "It could be that thing," Zac whispered softly. "I have a gun. I speak English, Spanish, and Portuguese, so I suggest you speak to me because my Beretta is a universal translator," said the voice. "If that's not her, that thing really has her down," Zac whispered. As I was about to relax, Harlii emerged and started firing at me. I didn't even get to speak because she came at me so fast. She had me dead to rights. As I dropped to the ground, I noticed Harlii kept firing over my head. With a glance, I saw the shadow of the silver behemoth all but evaporating into the darkness of the trees. Harlii ran over to me and hoisted me up. "You okay?" she said. Thank you. I'm fine." "Wasn't gonna even ask how I was doing, huh?" said Zac. Harlii jumped from sudden shock. She must have clocked me, but not Zac. When she whirled around, Zac caught her wrist, but his balance was so fucked they both went tumbling into the snow. It was damn adorable, actually, even though Zac looked hurt as shit. I saw little droplets of blood on the tree behind me, but absolutely no tracks on virgin snow. The two were doing little nuzzling kisses, and that's when I knew that sweet shit was going to give me diabetes. "Unless you got room for one more, I suggest we hit the lift," I said. "Izzy, I don't know what happened exactly that night down there, but nobody really wanted to say. Zac broke his leg or something, but I could smell the powder burns from a discharged weapon because I'm good that way. I got Harlii alone when the boys were doing Christmas tree ornaments with the kids. Fleha, tell me what happened out there," I asked. Harlii was standoffish, like she didn't want to tell me. "Harlii, don't you play games with me. Tell me what you saw down there." She didn't want to say. "This is me, Fleha. I'm the one who told you about Santeria. I watched your show. You don't have to act like I don't know things." Harlii took a deep breath and sighed. "Okay, we think we may have seen a Yeti, Wendigo, or maybe even Bigfoot." I threw up my hands. "This white boy got my baby looking for Bigfoot." I love it. I don't think I'd mind getting trapped in the woods with Lalchan and Zac. Oh yeah, Santa and Krampus. I forgot about them. So the T with them are, they're a devil and an angel. I'll let you decide which one is which. The last time we hung out was epic. We fought a zombie horde that was led by the Antichrist. Santa does have holy hand grenades. That is a thing that exists. Well, maybe I'll tell you that story one day, but it ain't today. Good night, children.